All right, so if you're making around 100 grand a year, you're in this really interesting spot, a kind of decision zone for your finances. And the choices you make right now, they can have massive consequences later on. So today, we're going to break down one of the biggest ones for people just like you, traditional IRA versus a Roth IRA. And let me tell you, the answer is not as simple as you might think, and getting it wrong, well, it can cost you a lot. And the stakes here? They're incredibly high. For a lot of people in this exact income bracket, the usual advice you see online, it can lead you down a path that, based on our models, could cost you over $156,000 in retirement. No joke. Yeah, you heard that right. That is not a typo, $156,000. That's the potential after-tax difference we're talking about here, just between making the right choice and the wrong one in a super common situation. And we're about to break down exactly how we get to that number. Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we need a simple way to think about it. And honestly, the entire difference between a traditional and a Roth IRA, it really just boils down to one simple question. Do you want to pay tax on the seeds you plant or on the harvest you get at the end? So think about it like this. With a Roth IRA, you pay the taxes on your contributions today. Those are your seeds. But then the entire harvest, all that growth over decades, is completely 100% tax-free. A traditional IRA, it's the total opposite. You get to plant your seeds tax-free, right? You get a deduction today, but when it's time to retire, the taxman comes knocking for a piece of the entire harvest. So the whole thing really comes down to this one single question you have to ask yourself. Will your tax rate be higher or lower in retirement than it is right now? I mean, if you think your tax rate will be lower when you retire, a traditional IRA has usually been the way to go. If you think it's going to be higher, well, the Roth is often the smarter bet. Simple, right? Not so fast. See, for folks earning around 100 grand, there is a critical detail, a catch, that most of the general advice you read online completely misses. I call it the deductibility trap. The biggest selling point for the traditional IRA has always been that upfront tax deduction. It's awesome. In 2026, you could put in $7,000 and potentially slash your taxable income by that full amount. It feels like an instant win, right? But here's the trap. For most of you earning around 100 grand, you probably have a 401k at work. And the second you have that 401k, the rules for deducting your traditional IRA contribution, they change completely. That door you thought was wide open for you, well, it just got locked. Let's just look at the actual numbers from the IRS for 2026. If you're single and you have a retirement plan at work, your ability to deduct your traditional IRA contributions starts to disappear at just $79,000 of income, and it's completely gone by $89,000. So if you're making 100 grand, you're way past the cutoff. You get zero deduction, none. And this creates a really dangerous situation. It's like the worst of both worlds. If you make a non-deductible contribution to a traditional IRA, you're paying tax on the seed, just like you would with a Roth. But you still have to pay tax on the entire harvest when you take it out later. It's a financial trap. And frankly, it's why for so many people in this income bracket, the Roth IRA just becomes the clear winner by default. Okay, enough theory. Let's put some real numbers on this. We're going to look at a case study for someone we'll call Jordan and see how this actually plays out over a lifetime of saving. So this is Jordan. Jordan is 35, making just over $100,000, and has a 401k at work. Jordan's going to max out their IRA, $7,000 a year for 32 years until retirement, and we'll assume they get a pretty average market return. So, what happens? And here it is, the big reveal. In both accounts, the money grows to about $1.09 million by retirement. But with that non-deductible traditional IRA, Jordan's got to pay over 155 grand in taxes on all that growth. That leaves about $934,000. With the Roth, the entire $1.09 million is tax-free. And that difference, there it is, the $156,000 we talked about right at the start. That's the cost of falling into that trap. Now look, to be totally fair, this doesn't mean the traditional IRA is always the wrong choice. There are definitely specific situations where even at this income level, it can be absolutely the right call. So let's look at a few of those, just to make sure we're getting the whole picture. Okay, so there are three main times when a traditional IRA really shines. First, you don't have a 401k at work. That means the locked door is wide open again, and you get that full deduction. Second, you're planning on some tax arbitrage, moving from a high-tax state like California or New York now to a no-tax state like Florida or Texas in retirement. Smart.
And third, you genuinely believe your income and your tax bracket will be way, way lower when you retire. In any of those cases, kicking the tax can down the road can be a really smart move. And there's one more huge thing we have to think about, and it's very specific to right now, to 2026. And it's this. The tax laws we have today, they are not set in stone.
I want you to think of it like a big weather system you can see coming on the radar. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act from 2017, it lowered most people's tax brackets. But, and this is a big but, those lower rates are scheduled to expire at the end of 2025. That means your current 22% tax bracket could easily jump back up to 25%, or maybe even higher. Now, nobody can predict what Congress will do, but that uncertainty, it makes paying your taxes now at a known lower rate with a Roth IRA a strategy that's definitely worth thinking about. Okay, so what do you actually do with all of this information? Let's boil it all down into a simple, actionable framework. Now remember, this isn't personalized advice, but it's a logical way for you to approach your own research. Step 1, know your number. Look at your tax return and find your modified adjusted gross income, or MAGI. Step 2, confirm if you can even deduct. If you have a 401k and your MAGI is over that $89,000 mark, then that non-deductible trap is very real for you. And step 3, before you make any final decision, please run this by a tax professional who can look at your whole financial picture and give you advice. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just a math problem, is it? It's really a prediction. You're making a bet on your own future. Are you going to earn more? Will tax rates go up? There's no single right answer that works for everybody. But by understanding this framework, especially that deductibility trap, you can avoid a really, really costly mistake. So the real question you have to ask yourself is, which one of these accounts aligns with the story you see for your future?